I rise today to talk about paid family leave. And I want to kind of introduce this topic by saying that, politicians across America, whether they're local, whether they're in state offices, or whether they're in very important bodies like the United States Senate, make one pledge, and that's to support American families, to make life just a little easier for the people who are raising the next generation, to do what it takes to encourage people to have families and to have children. So our future is secured with a workforce, but also the vibrancy that is America. So it's 25 years since we adopted the Family Medical Leave Act. That was a great step forward, and actually remember when it happened. I was North Dakota's Attorney General, cheering from the sidelines, thinking, we've solved this problem. We're now protecting parents from losing their jobs and enabling them to care for their newborns. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because how many people, even if they have the protection, can afford to exercise their right under Family Medical Leave Act? Very, very few in my state. And so it is absolutely essential that we take this to the next step, that we make sure that we are not forcing our citizens to choose between working, as they have to when families live paycheck to paycheck, and caring for their newborn. Yet many daycare facilities won't even take a baby. Think about that. Won't even take an infant until they're 10 or 12 weeks old. So what choice have we really given people under the Family Medical Leave Act? Just 15% of the workforce in the United States has access to paid family leave through their employer. That leaves millions of people without access to paid leave, time away from their job to care for a new child or a seriously sick relative. It's well past the time that the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, has a federal paid family and medical leave policy to truly support working families. I will tell you that I find this issue particularly vexing because as North Dakota competes with the rest of the country for workforce, if you go to California, this benefit is extended through a state system. If you go to Rhode Island, this benefit is extended through a state system. New York is pursuing a state system. Certainly states with large populations like New York and California have the economies of scale to offer this benefit in a state-based system. Guess what happens to a state that only has just over 700,000 people in population? Think about the percentages that we would need to run a state-based program. We need a national solution to this problem, and I know a lot of people are talking about, well, the states are doing it, they're the laboratories of experimentation in this great democracy, but the fundamental problem is that for states like mine, who don't enjoy economies of scale, this won't be a reality for the women, for the families in my state who want to have children. And daycare is the second issue that makes this so difficult. But we need to make sure that people know that they're going to have a guaranteed income for those first 3 months of child raising. And why is that important? It also is important because we know as a matter of physiological development, that bonding period of time with your parents, those early months are so critical. And when people get detached from their parents during those early months, you can suffer psychological effects that will last forever. And so we need to get this done. Okay, so let's talk about what the proposals are on the table. And I don't want to be critical because I think it is wonderful that this issue has come to this body, not only on this side of the aisle, but to talk about the need for paid family leave. But once again, where we applauded the Family Medical Leave Act, we left too many people behind. We can't do that again. We can't do that again, and so that's why it's really important that we analyze the proposals that are out there. And so I know that along with my good friend, the senator from New York, we have been having long and extensive conversations with many Republicans about this issue, many folks in the White House about the need for federal paid leave. But in the past few days, details have come out about a Republican plan that would have new parents do something we should never do, which is take money out of our retirement system. So have new parents take money out of their Social Security benefits. Think about that. We have a retirement crisis in this country. Too few people have anything other than Social Security to live on in their older years. And now we're saying, guess what? Borrow against that. Get your Social Security to help you pay for what happens today. And then hope upon hope that you'll have enough money to retire in the future. It is, quite honestly, the wrong direction. And so this plan does not, in my opinion, support families. It would not help most working families and those who could use it. It would force them to choose between caring for a newborn or a family member or their retirement savings. I think it's likely people would take that option. But jeopardizing their future retirement is not a choice they should have to make. Additionally, women already get, just think about this, already get on average 20% less in Social Security benefits than men. Why is that? It's that way because of the pay gap that we have in this country. Another issue that we could get off on here, but we're not going to. Social Security is a critical retirement security plan in this country, and for far too many families, it is the only thing they can rely on in retirement, something we need to fix, and we don't need to exacerbate it by complicating the Social Security retirement crisis with the problem of paid family leave. So I am here to advocate for a bill that Senator Gillibrand has introduced and I proudly have co-sponsored called the Family Act. It is a real federal paid leave policy I think that we desperately need. And we need to support working families in this bill because this would truly make that promise of family paid leave possible. So our bill provides 12 weeks of partially paid leave for workers dealing with serious health issues on their own, including birth and adoption of children, or for family members. Our bill would create an affordable, effective earned benefit that both employers and employees could contribute to and would contribute to. For employees, the paid leave benefit would always apply to them no matter where they live. It's transportable, which is so important in this new gig economy. Almost half of North Dakota workers do not qualify for a single, now I want you to remember this, for a single workday where they could get sick, and only about a third of North Dakota's workers are eligible for and can afford unpaid leave. For them, the Family Act would make all the difference. No family should have to choose between a loved one and their job. No family should have to make the choices that they have to make today, frequently to delay the onset of raising a family because they simply can't afford it when they put ink to pen to paper. So our bill also levels the playing field for businesses, and I think this is an important part. I want people to understand this. If you're a small firm in North Dakota that does coding, let's say that you're a software firm, and you've got an exciting new product, you want to generate excitement within your business, and you want to recruit the best and the brightest coming out of our universities, coming out of our technical schools. But you're competing against Microsoft, and you're competing against Google, and you're competing against all those companies that can afford to provide that benefit. Many, many of the small businesses in my state have said, help us compete. Help us compete for the best and brightest, because when those benefits are offered to workers, where are they going to go if they want to raise a family? Where are they going? They're going to go not where just the pay is better, but they're also going to go where they can get the benefit of paid family leave. And so it is critically important that small businesses enjoy this economies of scale. Many, many in retail. If you work in retail and you say, I want to exercise my right of paid family leave, or my right of family leave, and I'm going to go, I mean, you're going to protect the job, but you can't afford to pay that person when you're paying another person in a small business. That struggle, if you can think about this the way I think about it, which is we have unemployment insurance for a reason. We have unemployment insurance because temporarily people have to get out of the workforce because maybe their job no longer exists, or they've had a crisis in their family, not crisis in their family, but they've lost their job for some reason. We give unemployment benefits to help bridge them to the next job, to keep them in the workforce. And as a condition of that, we ask them to continue to look for a job. And we hopefully provide some services in their search for a job. So you think about the unemployment system. Who here would repeal unemployment insurance? It's temporary. This is an extension, and think about it like you would think about unemployment insurance. Something happens in your family. You have a baby. Your mother gets cancer. Your husband gets cancer. You can't afford to take that time off, but you can't afford to leave them alone. And so what do? You exit the workforce, potentially qualifying for food stamps, potentially qualifying for government benefits. This benefit keeps people in the workforce. And when I talked about this benefit in Dickinson, North Dakota, not exactly a hotbed of liberalism, and I explained why I thought it was important that we do it, a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, you know what I really like about your plan, Senator Heitkamp? I said, that we're gonna help families? She said, well, that's important, but I really like that it keeps people in the workforce. That they come to it, they have a job when they come back, and they're able to bridge that and not leave employment. Think about this. Think about the economic disruption that happens when somebody can't keep an employee because of these challenges. Retraining costs are high. That's why when this started in California, this was yet again another, big government program. People would talk about it that way. Satisfaction levels with this program from every end of the spectrum in California are off the charts, with employers and employees, with small business, with large business, because they know that retraining and retooling that they would have to do for employees is expensive, and they want to keep those good employees that they have. Let's do something for families. Let's actually do something. Let's not just promise it. Let's not mortgage our retirement for it. Let's do something for families and actually take this burden and say, we're gonna help you if you wanna have a child, 3 months of paid family leave, not at your total salary. It won't be the full amount, but we're gonna help you if your mom gets sick with cancer, so you don't have to leave your job to take care of her. We're gonna work with families to make this happen. I can guarantee you this will be a program that will be remembered the way we remember other great programs like Social Security, other great programs like Medicare, other great programs like unemployment insurance. And so with that, I just urge my colleagues to take a look at the Family Act, take a look at all the good economic arguments that go with it, not the heartwarming arguments, which I think we can make, but the economic arguments about why this makes sense for American business and why this makes sense for the American economy. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.